Hi internet friend. Today I am playing and experimenting with a new form of expression, and that is recording myself on a video. Very scary form of expression. It's been for me. It's been something that I wanted for a while, and it's also been something that I have been actively pushing away, actively finding excuses to not do it, actively suppressing and actively just avoiding. And that's because video expression is something that feels so open and so here I am on the internet. And of course, there is a fear associated with that, a fear of rejection, a fear of death, a fear of social death in your eyes of the viewers. And it is today that I'm choosing to welcome in that fear and still do a thing alongside with the fear. And so here's me and my fear yapping you some things through the video. And of course, as I say this, I observe so much nervousness and worries and heart rate passing all through me. So I will be taking a lot of breath through this experiment, and I invite you to do so too. Exhale. Today, I will tell you about who I am. And I will tell you it in 3 parts. First, my name. Second, my mission. And third, my craft tree. My name is Svetlana, and it means light in Ukraine, also known as a place where I grew up at. I was given this name because I was born on the second day of Easter, which in Ukraine is called Light Monday. It is on that Light Monday that a lot of small kids, including little Svitlana, go outside into the yard, into the gardens, and they threw the water into each other. And they celebrate, and they find joy, and there's a lot of light associated in that day. And so since I was born on Light Monday, and my parents are very strong Christians, they had to follow the Bible, and they had to give me the name of Svetlana. And I love that name. I love that name. I love that meaning. I enjoy seeing myself as a light too. I think that was a great match for who I am, and an identity and an energy that I give to the world. And so I'm grateful to my parents and to Jesus for giving me this name. I also like to think of my name as a verb rather than a noun. I am svitlana-ing, or svitlana-ing. Right now I'm svitlana-ing into this camera, and I'm svitlana-ing with my breath and with my weirdness and with my expression, with my nail polish. I'm just svitlana-ing to this rectangle that you see on your screens. And I like to see the name as a verb because who I am is always changing. I'm not a static, rigid, and just set in place noun. Who I am is a dynamic system, is a dynamic evolution of who I am and the things that I do. It's a verb. It's always in the motion. It's always in the action. It's always transforming. And so, hence Svitlana-ing. And I kind of want the whole world to be thinking of their names as verbs and welcome that idea that who we are not static models. We are really always changing and always letting go of the old patterns, letting go of the old stories and welcoming the new, and always changing. And so this is my name. Second part is my mission. My mission is to cultivate 3C spaces that are spaces that are conscious, curious, and collective. I have been wearing this mission on me for maybe a year or so, thanking to my coach Kathleen for introducing this to me. The idea that you as a human can have a mission too. It's not just a business or corporation that can have a mission. Anyone can have a mission. And so wearing this mission on me, going out and about and introducing myself as that mission has been really landing. It's really something that feels true to myself. And of course, it took so many iterations to arrive in this mission in the first place. But now it sits with me. And what I love about this mission, to cultivate conscious, curious, and collective spaces, is the word space into it. And that's because space as a word is a very open word. It's like this open, huge container into which you can put in many, many meanings and kinds of things. Space is an open umbrella that carries so many different elements in it. And here's what I mean by it, by giving you some examples. First, a space is my dinner party, is my friends and the bonfire. And it's a space that I want to create to be conscious, curious, and collective. A space is also my inner world. It is how I feel inside of myself, inside of my organism, inside of my body. It's how, whether it's peaceful or turbulent. And it's also the space that I want to be curious rather than judgmental, or conscious rather than automatic, or collective rather than singular. A space is also a technological space. And so right now, you're probably watching this video in some of the platforms where I posted it. That thing where you're watching it is also a space. And as a technologist, I can choose to create software spaces to also have a certain vibe, certain taste, certain texture to them. And I want my technological spaces, the ones that I create and I experiment with a lot of technological spaces these days, to also be conscious, curious, and collective. A space is also a space between you and me, where right now we are having a conversation, even though it feels more like monologue, but maybe you can write a comment or something and we can connect beyond this box. So it's also a conversation that I have with you, with my partner, with my family, and I always am wanting to make that space conscious, curious, and collective. And so moving on to the third element of my introduction, which is my craft tree. I really think that there are multiple ways to support the unfolding of my mission. And that is, there are many methods of creating those 3C spaces. And I realized that there are many identity statements that I can also hold in support of that. And so a year ago, I started thinking of myself as a tree. Let's say it's a tree with 5 branches, and the core of that tree is the roots, and it's my values that I hold. And then out of the tree, I have branches grow. There's many, many branches that my tree I have. And so each branch in my tree is a craft. And it's an identity, it's a craft, and it's an identity statement of mine. So also, meta side note, observing a lot of like, Svitlana, just stop this video, restart, because like this is not making sense. Well, if it's not making sense now on V0, it's gonna make sense at some point, and I will try again. So if it's not making sense, it's not making sense. Things can't be perfect. Things cannot be perfect at all, unless you're a ballet dancer. So welcoming the imperfection and the mistakes as I go. End of side note. Back to a tree. Who I am is a tree, and there is values as a roots. And then there are many branches that the tree has, and all of those branches in my world, I see them as crafts. I see them as identity statements that I have. And so there is a branch of a writer, there's a branch of a technologist, there's a branch of a yoga teacher, there's a branch of a mind researcher, there is a branch of comedian, there is a branch of a coach, and there are many more branches. And so who I am is multitudes. And even though I have a day job in tech and all of that stuff, I choose to think of myself as more than just a single identity or single statement. And so who I am is a multitudes. Who I am is a tree with a lot of crafts, with a lot of branches into it. And each of the branches or each of the roles helps me with cultivating conscious, curious, collective spaces. For example, as a yoga teacher, I create spaces for my student where they feel welcomed and curious about their movement. As a writer, I create a piece of writing that puts you into that state of experience where my hope is to invoke curiosity, and my hope is to invoke collective knowledge creation. As a mind researcher, when I come and have a conversation with my friends, and we try to understand this plurality, this way of being where what they see is so different from what I see, and oftentimes how that leads to all sorts of misalignments. In that moment, I too am invoking curiosity and trying to research their minds and research my mind with a sense of curiosity, consciousness, and collectivism. I realize a lot of the things might not be making sense right now, and I think I'm still gonna just roll with it. And that is maybe that is it. So here it was, the first experimental video of Svitlana-ing, her expression of who she is and what she does in life. And I am wanting very much like pokes and challenges and also just love for this expression, because it is something that is very new, and it is something that me and my fear right here have been wanting to do for a while. And so I to celebrate this first expression, however imperfect, however confusing and entangled it is. Or maybe not. Maybe it's not as entangled as it feels like in my mind. Maybe what I see is different from what you see. And so, yeah, I hope you all feel safe to express yourself, and I hope you all feel comfort in being seen. Bye, bye, bye.